And yeah, I guess I'm starting. All right, folks. Thanks for joining. Those who have, I see. I'm getting some messages from people in um, uh, different environments. So today, yeah, I'm going to work on a Chrome plugin to-do application, and I'll demo it in a bit. This one is one I've been using for many months, and the last time it was updated was 2017. It's a bit, um, rough around the edges, and I've been thinking about building or replacing it, building something to replace it for a while now. And then I haven't started because I was like, oh, I want to live stream it, and then I didn't, do anything to live stream or learn how to do that. So I eventually figured it out and thought I'd do this today. The goal again is to build this thing here. What I love about it is it hooks into my Chrome, and anytime I start a new tab, it opens up. So it has a time here. This is a bit distracting that it uh, shows me the seconds, the date. I hate this too. Like it'll show me how far we are into the day or the month or the year. And I follow this Twitter account that also does this, right? It'll show you how far you are in the year, and I feel like it just moves so fast, faster than I'd like it to move. And then it has these three columns: today, this week, and this month. If you want to add something, you click options. I don't know why. You click options, you type this in, then you press enter, or you click add, and it adds it. And then when you complete the thing, you can do this, or you can delete it. You can also move things from one thing to another, and you can see sort of where my mouse cursor is and where that thing is being dragged. So it's a bit weird in terms of using this. I'm not sure because they're using an old library. Or hey Saeed, hey Muzi FN, thanks for joining. Um, and so this is what I want to build. And you might say, hey, why rebuild it? Aren't there already um, Chrome plugins out there that do something better than this? And there absolutely are. And you might say, hey, why don't you just use Trello or Jira or something else? And I absolutely could. The minimal thing I could probably do is write a plugin to just open Trello every time I press open a new tab. But this is random acts of coding. It's not reasonable acts of coding. So I just wanted to build it, see if I can do that in public as well. And the way I want to structure it is I want to still have three columns, but I don't really use today, this week, and this month in this way. The way I do use it for my brain is now, next, and later. So now is like stuff that I need to either be doing now or be looking at now or be working on now, like immediate or urgent sort of thing. Next is, the stuff that I'm going to look at after I'm done with these things here. And then this is later. Like it's not now, it's not the next thing. It's ideas or things that will move in closer. And that's really it. I don't want to do the whole, it's in progress, done. Like it's not an issue tracker. It's just something that um, makes me reminds me of the things that I have to work on and that I can manage simply. So I don't want it to be too complicated. And other things that there's a bunch of things it doesn't do. For example, it doesn't tell you how old these things are. So I might just enhance some of these things a little. We got more people. Hello, Frick Style Sty TV. Frick Sty TV. Okay. And all right, so let me actually get started then. So I haven't really planned too much here, apart from what I want to use. I want to use Vue. I want to use Vue's script setup options for doing this, which I haven't used before. So I'll be fumbling my way around a little bit there. I have built a Chrome extension with Vue before, but I haven't done that recently, and I don't really remember how to do that or put that up. And so I'll be figuring things out as we go. There's two ways I can go about this. One, I can just create a new Vue app and then just work on this functionality here. disconnected from Chrome itself, right? Maybe I can just get the drag and drop, adding to-do items working first, and then hook it into Chrome, and then I'm done. Or I can go about kind of figuring out how to get into Chrome first. I'm going to actually go about figuring out how to get into Chrome first, get it hooked up. And once that's done, then I'm going to do the rest of the work just as a normal Vue application. So we'll go to our trusted friend Google and how to create a Vue Chrome plugin and figure that out. Really, like I'm doing this as if I normally would, right, without having too much prior knowledge. Building Chrome. I'm seeing some old stuff here. 2021 is fairly new. Vue CLI. So I actually don't want to use Vue CLI. There's many ways to create a Vue application. I want to use Vite, which is one of the newer sort of transpilers, compilers. So I'm going to put that in here. Vue Vite Chrome plugin. It's going to use extension here, which I think was the first suggestion. There's a video. I'm not going to go into that. I'm just hoping there'd be, okay, Vue Vite Chrome extension example. Oh, okay. TypeScript, which I want to use. Tailwind, which I want to use as well. So maybe I can just start copy pasting some stuff from here. I'm just going to look at this. Okay, so use the latest Vite to start a new project. Yep, Vite is built on top of Rollup and ESBuild, I believe. Installs Tailwind, sets that up, great. And then Sass I don't want. View router I won't use as well, because we really will just have one page. And then manifest, okay. And then, so I'm gonna just put this on hold because I want to see what this has. Okay, they're using a plugin for Chrome extension, which this does not seem to have. And I know that when I built the Chrome extension the last time, I did use a plugin for Vite. Okay, so this is right. So you get the Chrome extension, you configure it, and then you tell it right through Rollup. You tell it where the entry point is, which will be the manifest file. Oh, great. Okay, this has examples. New tab, great. That's exactly what we want. So there's different types of Chrome plugins that you can use. There's pop-ups. There's actually changing the page through content scripts, and there's a number of different ways. But I want the new tab stuff. So let me see the way they configure this. So again, just looking here to see how they're using this, which is just Vite and Chrome, and then manifest.json. Interesting. So I actually don't know how you would set up manifest.js or manifest.json to trigger a new tab. Okay, so this type nt plus search term into the omnibox to open a new tab. So this doesn't hook into the new tab. And I don't know how to do that. So I'm going to just see if they have any examples for that. Page, list of resources, click clear. Doesn't seem like they do, which is fine. I'm just going to say Chrome extension. Oh, new tab to do, which I did search for. But customize your new tab. Chrome tabs without declaring blah, blah, blah. I don't think this is it. What I want to do is I want to hook into, like when I press Command T or Control T, I want to have my plugin be the page that we go to. Okay. So this is prior tab, and I wonder if prior tab has a is on GitHub. And it is. Okay, great. So this is how you do it. Okay, I see. I see. Okay, so we set up the application. We use this plugin. The plugin has an entry point, which is the manifest.json, and then it knows to look at prior tab or whatever I put in here to both compile and display. So I'm hoping that's the way it works. And oh, this is great too, because it uses storage, which is probably something I want to do. All right, let's get started. And so the part that I'm doing now is just creating a new Vite view application, setting up some TypeScript stuff, some linter stuff, and then getting Chrome hooked up. So that's my goal. Not for the whole thing. Like if I um, get stuck, then that might take me the whole hour and a bit. But if we move past that, then we'll get into actually making the app itself. All right. So um, I guess where do I keep my list of to-do notes? I guess what uh, I actually, where do I do it? I really don't. Um, I kind of just riff as I go usually, but I guess what we'll do is we'll use the thing we built. So we'll probably just use prior tab for now as we're building this, and then we'll use what we build maybe to start. Okay, how much do I have to donate for you to use Ember? Um, Name a price. Make me an offer, and I'll counter offer. Okay, I'm actually gonna use whatever we have here for Vite. Okay. All right, here we go. So I have Vite project, which I had created before just for linting purposes. Um, a boring name, select view, and select TypeScript, get in there, and I'm gonna start Tmux. Let me know if the size of the code is good here. And let's do our yarn dev to see if that's running for 3000. Right, yeah, fair, fair. So I've increased that 3 notches. I hope that's okay. Localhost 1:. Okay, that works. And count is 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me just get into setting up. I think if you're okay, when I do Control P and list everything, it shows me node modules. So let me get in it and commit, commit. I have that, and now when I list, I shouldn't see node modules in there. Good. And let me just get into main and okay. So let me also then quickly set up ESLint and a bunch of things. Go to package. Instead of fumbling around with what specifically to do, I'm going to get into random access coding. The project I had certain things set up already, which is essentially this, like the ESLint stuff. I don't have to do that again because I don't want to fiddle with these configurations. I'm going to use these versions just the way they are. Okay, and I'll yarn that. That installs Prettier and ESLint, which means now if I, ideally, it should mean if everything is installed, and if I go in here, oh no, I'm missing one more thing, which is just a bit of more config, which is, I thought I had it here. I don't. Right, just give me a second. I'm going to pull in some other files here. I'm just copying some files in a different window, if you'll give me a second. Okay, and we should be back. You know, I miss CopyScript. I do miss CopyScript quite a bit. The project ESLint. So I'm just gonna, there's a whole bunch of ESLint config files that I'm used to. So I'll just use that. And just set that up. I need to probably at some point have like, there we go. And I need to load up Prettier as well. So I'm using ESLint with Prettier configured to work together. So now that that is done, and I jump into here, main.ts, once the language server loads up, great, now it's telling me there's errors because I'm using double quotes. And now when I format, they turn into single quotes, which means this is all working. Let me add this and just see the changes that I made here. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm sorry we have to like wade through some of this stuff before we can get going, but that is one of the downsides of not using like a preset thing. Okay. Yeah, I do have some advice. It's keep drinking more coffee. Yeah, I'll just copy the configs because I spent like hours setting that up just the way I like, and I don't remember how I did it. So copy paste in that case is the way to go. And I might do like a thing. I might write a blog post on how to do it because I had to like borrow different things from different blog posts, so it wasn't quite the way I liked it. Okay, so here, let me actually take a look at the project as generated. In source, we have assets, component, hello world, and it is using script setup. And this is going to bug me, maybe, because it says it's an error here, where, and it says it's an error here as well. That's unfortunate. So I probably don't have the right plugins in my Vim setup that work with script setup, which will show me these errors and they will annoy me. So it says count is declared but never used, but it is actually used. And so we'll just live with that. I actually haven't used script setup before, which is why I don't have it set up. But I'm also not going to use any time here to set that up. I'm just going to roll with the errors as long as things are compiling and everything is working. Okay, so now that is working. I know that this comes with an index somewhere. Great, so there's an index here. And let me just take a look at how part it, well, not this, but I guess now I can look at that plugin here and look at some examples. Examples with view, perfect. Full options, embedded options. Okay, really, it's just adding the plugin, and maybe they have some generate. And after that, to generate the manifest, because I don't know what that would look like. Background. No, so I guess I could just copy the manifest file and see if that's good enough. And then I'm assuming I build usage. Okay, I guess I could use some improvements. I don't know if it's about a year old, so I don't know if it'll work, but I'll just copy paste my way through this and hopefully it will work. Okay, and let me see what the layout is here. The source is in here, and manifest lives inside source. And really, that seems to be about it. And I have to configure it in Vite. Right. Let me pull this in. Plugins, resolve, and plugins I have view. Yep, okay, that's good. Then I don't need this anymore. And then pull this in as well. And for good measure, I'm going to get this resolve as well here. I don't know how, again, it'll work with my configuration, but let's see. Okay, so it is giving me some errors here. Cannot find your name, but although all these things are common, there might be a TypeScript setup I need for those to be pulled in. I don't think it's type. Oh, Vite client. No, obviously not. Let me actually just quickly look at the TS config here. Again, I won't spend too much time doing this. It's just this stuff is bothering me just a little bit. Maybe the next time I do something like this, I'll have this figured out already. Yes, next. Node resolution. Or if some of you know how to get rid of those immediately, I am game. Yes, next DOM. I feel like it should already be there. Can you hear me now? I wonder when that happened. I wonder when the sound kind of um, gave up here, but okay, awesome. So where we were I trusted the plugin and the plugin didn't quite pan out. And then now it seems like I'm going to try what this blog post has basically, where they're placing the manifest.json in the root of the project, and they're using the dist folder. So once I build, I'll use my whole project folder as my plugin, and it's going to read from the dist one. And I think that should work. So change of plan, which means for a few seconds, I'll have 2 copies of the manifest and index, and I'll just remove, if this works, I'll remove the one in the source folder. So this is now going to be dist/index to follow the pattern that's here, which means I will need to remove the plugin here. Just comment it out for now. And build. Okay, so that will do a build. Let me do a yarn dev to see if it'll still also jump into dev, because and that'll just help us. Okay, so this is the index. It's loading the index here. And then I have a manifest here in this folder. And then I'm going to try and install this. I'm going to plugins, open up developer mode, and load an unpacked extension, which will be here. And since the manifest is here, I'm assuming it's this directory, so hopefully it will take. Great. So the icons, and I had a suspicion that, I don't know if I could leave something in where the file doesn't exist. So asset icons didn't work. So action, actually, we're not using any actions at all. So get rid of that. Then I'll get rid of this as well and kind of make it really bare. I'm not sure if I have to, I don't think I have to build every time because the manifest isn't part of the build. Anyway, let me just try this again. So same folder, select. File not found, dist index. I wonder if dist is the, Hey, Elon. Thank you for joining. Thanks everyone for joining. I actually don't know who else is in here because I don't know how to use Twitch. Alien Gathering. Who is this? Another TV viewer. Who are you? And I don't know. I don't even know if this is everyone. Okay, cool, cool, awesome. Thanks for joining, folks. Okay. All right. I'll wave back, Elon. How about that? Or Dubro. I feel like I should use people's handles here. Okay, so that's interesting. We went through this, and oddly enough, I don't. Oh, maybe because I redefined build, right? Because I left this in from the other config of that other plugin, and it's building the project in a different way, and it's probably overriding the default build. So now I've commented this out, and if that is correct, then when I do yarn build and dist, then that'll test out this hypothesis. Okay, let's dist, and there we go. There's the index, and now I expect this to work. Amazing. Here's my to-do. And I wonder what happens because both of these are vying for the, okay, did you mean to change this page? This page was changed by the to-do extension. Keep it. And here, once I would have expected to see, my expectation would have been to see the page that we see here. And that's not what we see here. So at least we got it installed. And now let's figure out what the errors here. So I already see some errors in console. So assets, index, and CSS. And it seems like it's not picking those up. And that makes sense because if it's not going to pick up the JS and CSS, that's the entirety of the Vue application. So there might be something else in this blog post here that we need, that I haven't looked at. So they just have these things. They have router, CSS setup, Tailwind. That doesn't seem right. And you guys can see clearly I didn't prepare, right? Like this is really like totally off the cuff. And I purposely didn't because I didn't know what I was going to get into. Okay. All right, so this is using browser action. It doesn't have anything else in here that indicates to me that it oh, okay. But maybe there's somewhere we need to indicate what files get picked up. Maybe there's somewhere else. Let me take a look at this repo that they have here, where there's any changes here. No, maybe the index file is a bit different. No, just the source main.ts class pop up. Maybe their Vite config is different. So they're using a bunch of different plugins here, none of which we're using. Optimized dependencies, server fs strict true. I don't know if this is relevant because everything gets compiled. So this is just dev time. And the alias is different, but we're not really using any of that. Okay. Let's take a look at what gets built again and see if these match. What we have in the disk folder here matches what we get in the browser. So open up a new tab, see my errors, 456, 666, index 151. Yeah, I mean, this seems like it should load up. Let me see if this still loads up when I do yarn dev. Oops, not from here. Also not from here. And that loads fine because it's going through the internet. Anyone worked with Chrome plugins before that might have an idea at maybe what I'm missing here. Let's see. Through style sheets. File couldn't be accessed. It has been moved or deleted. I guess the entire plugin lives somewhere. Let me actually disable this prior tab plugin. Let me remove this and try and reinstall it. And maybe that as a move this all together, although I don't think those are related. select this here. I get this added. Then I open a new tab. No problem. Actually, now the here looks a bit different. I wonder if the cross origin has anything to do with it, although I doubt that. I got my /assets. I only see index here, so I feel like I need to list in the manifest the assets. Like this is my assumption. But I don't think I saw that here as part of the blog post that we had here. Let me just take a quick, I think we got it. I think it is, I do have to list it in the manifest somewhere. That's my assumption. I don't see any of that here. Okay. Because that would be a pain to just have to list it, because that manifest file uses like the hash, like it uses this hash here, so I can't, get this back into the manifest file if that's what's required, because that's the only thing in dist here that is in my plugin, so those files aren't being included when I install the plugin. It's just, see, the trouble with Googling this stuff is like now it's like Chrome issues, not just issues people are having in Chrome, and not specifically, Chrome extensions issues from dev tools. So, okay, so let me just take a closer look here. Okay, go back to here in the manifest. Chrome URL overrides new tab. Oh, good. And clicking on this actually gets me to an error, which is not very useful either. So let me actually just Google that. Let me Google this. Yeah, I'm not seeing any indication of additional files that need to be included, right? Especially if they're CSS. From extension manifest CSS file. You could add to the manifest permissions field, web accessible resources. Might be it. Right, so prior to manifest v2, all resources with an extension would be accessed on any page on the web. This is a lot of malicious stuff. Although this is matches. And maybe this is part of what the plugin did for us, right? It probably got the assets in here as well. Let me give this a shot, and if this doesn't work, I'm gonna be sad, I guess. So resources, and I'll just go by the actual resources that we have here. That's unfortunate. This is what typically the tab Outlook would look like. I wonder if this would reinstall it. Oh, great. It's going to be a pain. Anyone have any ideas? Oops. Okay, so I'm going to look again for this here in the new tab. And then someone indicating how this is done. It's actually not where I expected to get stuck. Just have people look at me read web pages. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so starting in with detail. New tab does need. Okay, maybe I can just try something out just for my sanity. Just I'll go into this index here, down here, and replace this just with flow there, just so I know that portion is working. And then we'll see what's wrong with the assets. My extensions thing disappeared here. There we go. Okay, it still wants me to remove this configuration. Just index. So that hello there is popping up. So it is working. is just doesn't like, it's not picking up those files. I haven't even installed Tailwinds. It's like super basic, just JavaScript and CSS. And so like that stuff isn't even there. And so again, the problem here is that it's looking for stuff that doesn't exist. I wonder if I can do that. Not be accessed. So if I go into sources here, I would expect there to be like dist assets included here, but it is not doing that. So let me quickly think on whether I should kind of try and try and use that plugin again. It's like maybe I gave up on the plugin too soon. Right. I'm going to go back to trying to use this plugin and seeing if it actually helps. So, all right, let's go back. And build. At least one HTML file must have at least one script. Of course, test.json, Chrome overrides, index.html. Okay, so I guess what I can do is maybe it's because this plugin doesn't like Chrome URL overrides, like it doesn't work with this, but it probably works with something else. So what I want to do is maybe replace something else in here and then see if that works. So let's go back here. And maybe go into embedded options. And this is getting unwieldy. Okay, embedded options. Just make sure by taking a look at their Vite configuration. Source manifest, that's what I'm doing. Got my plugins, view and Chrome extension defined just the way they are. Manifest.json. Pages options index. Open in tab. Which I wonder like what will happen if I just stole this, for example. Okay. So one thing I noticed is this doesn't have a slash. I don't think that should make a difference. I would be shocked if that was it, but let's see. Maybe it is. Okay, I think that was it. That it was just the slash. I can get rid of this. So it's super strict in terms of how this plugin wants this built. So that's, was that a good 20 minutes? Unbelievable. Okay, so now if I look into dist, it's got some of the stuff right here. It's not using assets. When we built the normal one, they were in assets, but now they're not. Everything is just in the main dist directory. And now if I go back, okay. Except the CSS isn't working now. So it's got the main JS, it's got the assets, And the only thing that it doesn't have now is CSS. Yeah. So the it's something that I say every time is like when stuff isn't working, you have to read every character. And yes, so like while scanning this, and I was like just scanning every character to see what was different. And then and I realized that it was that I did put a slash here because before this was I think this was like assets or something. Okay, so now it's not picking up. It's not picking up. True, that's a good idea. But it's not picking up my like my regular CSS because oh maybe you're saying hey don't even bother with CSS compilation. Um, just get that straight from CDN. Let's actually give that a shot, right? Because I actually don't have to fiddle with anything if I do that. Yeah, so that works. Um, that works. Although I do want to see. Thanks. See, it did generate a main CSS file. If I go into the index, it's just like it's not in here, which is like a huge problem um because you expect it's probably like a bug in the plugin maybe where because you would expect um the compilation to know that main.js includes CSS stuff, right? So main.ts here. Oh, okay. App view. So here's the CSS styles are here. So these do get compiled somewhere into that. Okay, so let's do that. Let's get. I wonder if that will open from the browser, but let's see. Okay, wow. That's gotta be Josh. Oh wow, holy shit. You could like put a config in here and it'll pick that up through the thing and it'll do what? Oh, it's the whole engine, I guess. Really? Okay, wow. It's interesting. That's funny. That's rich. Right, yarn build. Oops. Into install that. Although I didn't test it out, so let me just add. Right, care. I wonder if there's a substitute to that where I have to. So no, um, so that didn't work either. Refused to load the script. because it violates the following content and security policy directive. That's ridiculous. I am actually sorry, folks. Like, I didn't think I'd spend so much time having to figure this aspect out. I'm just going to open every single example I have here and like take a deep look. Especially to see if they have so they do have styles here. So there is like a style thing here that, and it does get compiled. It just doesn't land in that index page. So in order to move on, here's what I'm going to do, which is like a terrible hack. I'm going to build this. And it doesn't matter for purposes because, so it did build like a main.css. Oh, so Tailwind was like a, yeah, and I'll just manually include it because, you know, what am I? And I always forget the syntax for this. I think W3 schools. And so here I'll just go into dist index. And if this works, then every time I build, I have to do it. But then I don't have to worry about it because I'm going to actually do the coding of the to-do list right on Vite in the engine straight up. All right, now we're talking. Okay, so which is unfortunate, and the logo doesn't show up here, but at least this is functional. And now new tab, this is functional straight up. And once I get down here and do yarn dev, local host 3000, that is functional as well. Okay, you know what? That was a good, like, what, 20 something minutes, which is fine. You know, it's weird because I think if I was just doing this and it took me half an hour to figure it out, that's like not a lot. But 100% feel like if there's like a bunch of people watching, that seems like a waste of their time. Okay, so now I can take a look here. I am using the plugin, so I'm no longer using manifest in the root directory. I am using index in the source folder. I am using source manifest in the source directory. Yep. Whole world. Okay, that's just formatting. Yes, config, I added these types. Vite, this is all the config here. Good diff here. Working Chrome install with a manual hack. And maybe at some point, the task there would be maybe to look at the actual plugin that we're using, because either it has a bug or there's some configuration that it has that we're not using. Okay, great. So now I can get back to business, which is actually building out somewhat of a to-do list. So I guess in terms of what I'm maybe envisioning here is something like this. Super simple Trello-like, where I have my things here. This is now. This is next. And this is later. And this will be, yeah, and this will be like cards here. Super Trello-like. Add an add option here. And I think that's about it. I don't need like timers and this and that. There are some things to consider, which is Chrome storage. So Chrome has Chrome extensions store, not store, storage. Chrome.storage, right? So what Chrome.storage does, and this is what prior tab uses, where if I am logged into Chrome using my Google account, and then I log into a different machine, it syncs that data. So that data is stored with my Google account. Versus if we had used local storage, it just gets stored locally. So what I'm going to do here, I do want this sync because I do work on different machines. I want this information to transfer over. But because we'll be building this in the normal Vite app, that won't have Chrome storage. And so I guess what essentially I'll do is I'll start building it through local storage and then just have a check to see if Chrome storage is available and use Chrome storage when it's available. That way we don't have to refresh and keep installing the plugin and building it and getting it into Chrome every time we need to test it. We'll just use local storage to store everything. Okay, so I do have to install Tailwind. And I'm just kind of quickly reading through here. Is with the Tailwind CLI tool. I actually haven't used the latest version of Tailwind. Only on Tailwind 2. So let's get Tailwind installed. Wait. Okay, that generates my Tailwind configuration. Actually, what I should have done was added Vite here, so that was giving me the actual stuff that I need. And with some additional things that I need to install. Right, so that's good. So what I'll do here is I'll just take a look at what's been added and get rid of that. And this should be fine. So adding post CSS and auto prefixer. We'll get this content material out. Well, I need to regenerate this. And the reason I deleted the generator file is because it's using a -p here, maybe for post CSS, and I don't want to miss out on that. So, right, so that assumption is true. It generated a post CSS, which it didn't before. I think in the previous installation, it didn't have the -p. All right, so now get into Tailwind and content in there. Even that seems to be it for that file. Source index.css and then importing CSS. Run dev and I'm just going to straight up copy this. Oh, okay. Hello world, that's fine. Just together and straight up in out. Okay, that's great. I probably need to restart this since I Tailwind. Okay, we have Tailwind. Let's commit this. New file. I didn't change anything here. New file, new Tailwind config. Changes to package, which is just the packages that we installed for Tailwind. I completely overwrote whatever was in here. I'm not using hello world here anymore. I'm just going to comment that out so that error doesn't get committed. Added index.css and you unlock. Okay, cool. Now we have Tailwind, we have our app, and now we can start working on the design of the app itself. So it's just 9:30. I started at 7:30, or 8ish. So it's been about an hour and a half. Let me see how far I can get. So I might just spend about, like, let's say half an hour, maybe a bit more, but just about half an hour, and we'll wrap it up. So we'll see how far we get in half an hour. Okay, so I want here to have a list of cards. I want 3 of them, but I really only need to start with one, and I need a way of storing that data so that it gets represented. So I guess I'll just hard code some data that I'll know I'll get from somewhere. The structure I haven't really thought about, so I'm just gonna riff it, and if it needs to be changed later, that's fine. And I'll do everything in app view because it matter. So I don't want to spend too much time thinking about the data structure, but initially I'm just thinking, what if I had columns and each one of those was an object? Then I have something like now, and then I have this now. Although I said I wasn't going to think about multi-column, my brain's just going there. Now, next, and later. That way, if the data is represented and I make it based on the data, everything should be fine. And then this will have a list. And the list will have some data here, which might be, I don't think I'm going to do like a whole title and description thing. So let's just have a description. Description. This is an item. And I don't have a list here, that's fine. And I'll probably want something like created at here to know when it was created. Leave that with you for now. And really, that's all I need. I guess there's like state, where maybe it's new, and then maybe another state where it's done. And then another thing just for add an ID. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I'm just thinking I'm going to need to update these somehow. And because I'm using kind of a flat file system, I'm just using an object. I'm going to need to find the ID so I can edit it and then save the entire object again. So for now, we'll just work on the view itself. wonder if green is a Tailwind color. It is. So I have BG green 200 here right in the file, but I didn't see that in my, I didn't have a green background. I'm not sure why. And this didn't work. I don't think we have Tailwind. Oh no, we do. It is underlined. Okay, good. Just Excel. Oops. Okay, that is working. Sorry, we do have Tailwind. But then, why is the background not green? Because that didn't get compiled. That got left out. So I guess I can just have a div element in here that spans everything. I don't want to try and figure out what's happening there. Just so I don't have to figure things out here, right? So I'm just using, I don't want to figure out why this is getting compiled out. It shouldn't. And again, I guess it's something with to do with the plugin. And I'm just using this as my main div now. We'll actually use something light, like a light gray as a background. And all I want to do now is get these columns and get this listed here and have a visualization of what this is. So yes, I'm going to just use divs because I don't care about semantics. Okay, so go through, I'm going to go to v4 of column of data dot columns. And I have to add a key. So it knows to update properly, and the key was going to be column dot. And we'll just output column dot. Perfect. And now we'll just want to get this aligned properly. Okay, and we'll use my best friend Flex. Space Y4. Let's add a border. This has just add a basic border, and we will also just get it rounded empty. And that's looks nothing like what I wanted, what I would have expected. Let's add some padding here. Oh, okay, sorry. These need to be bordered and rounded and everything, not my Flex. Okay, that makes sense. Space X, not space Y. And then let me just those borders to be a bit more thicker. I just want to be able to see them, right? And then I want to center everything. Okay, so what I actually want, I actually don't want these things to be like this. I actually want um, the title to be on top of um, the column. So this will just be the title. And then in here, I'll have another div that will actually hold my tickets. And this class then now belongs here. And then in here, I will have my list item of column dot list. And I need a key here. That's why I wanted to add that ID, right? Although I just could have used the index as well for the key, but that's fine. So item.id. And we'll add item.description here. Close this actually. Okay, great, perfect. I mean, I'm just going to ignore this and just focus here. And later on, we can have, minimum widths and heights and so forth for this. We might not even need a height here. But this is essentially what I want. And then within here, I want these to look like cards as well. So here, I want to add similar border rounded MD. I've got a shadow, medium shadow as well. Adding of 3, yeah. It's looking more card-like. Definitely space Y for that. And some space there. This is an item. This is done. Now, this border black here was just to give me some visual. I'm not going to make it too pretty. I would have expected there to be a probably have to inline block it, but that's fine. Okay. So now I have a list of things. I have it being outputted. Okay, great. Okay, so I'm actually gonna, in order to not have a distraction, I'm gonna comment this out. And I have a list of things. And I'm ready to at least do one commit here. So I've added some dummy data, and I have some visualization of that data. Okay, so now I can do a couple of things here. And I'm just thinking, one thing I can do is maybe do some of that drag and drop kind of rearranging aspect, which seems cool. I don't know if I could get that done in 15 minutes. I will use a plugin of some sort, or I can do add and then add another item. You know what? Let's do it. Let's do drag and drop. View 3, drag and drop. This is pretty much what we want, right? Like, this is it. This whole drag and drop business, being able to drag something, rearrange it. It changes the data here for me automatically. Okay. Okay, so we have to use the view tag here to be able to manage this. Cool, it does transitions, it does, you know. Right. Okay. I'm just trying to get a sense of what's happening here. So my V model is going to be my list of items that I want to be draggable, which will then be fed in here through this slot. And then this will be my list item. So this is going to be my column.list. This is going to be my list item. Okay, let's give that a shot. Okay. We have draggable, which means this div here, which is my item, I'm going to want to get this. And what I'll do is except I won't have this business here. And I will use element instead of item because I think that's what it passes it in as. This I probably don't need. NV model. I don't know if it'll work in column.list, but let's see. We'll leave this v4 up here so we can see the difference. Just add lala as an indicator. Not like it's not as visible here, but it is working. And we have an editable list. We're not saving it anywhere, but we have it. Okay, that's great. And that's all we have to do. It doesn't have. It is ignoring my. Well, I don't. I guess I don't have it. Can I just pass in here? Will that space this out? It does. Cool. I'll probably need to give this a white background, which is why we're seeing this like see-through business that doesn't look nice. Now when I drag this, that looks more like something that can be stuff. And I believe this plugin should have stuff like that, you know, where right now by default when I'm dragging, it doesn't remove the item from the list. It doesn't have like, you know, these dotted things. It doesn't have any of that. So, but it is list, so I can just get rid of this. Did I? Yeah, okay. Just get rid of that. And now I have my draggable. Adding draggable here. Using the draggable tag, which uses the slot instead of just writing it out. Okay. Okay, let's see if we can do add. Let's see if we can do add. All right, how would I want to do add? So at the bottom of this, let me just add. Yeah, sure. Let's just add a div. Why not? And I'm just gonna say button. Right. Cool. Let's give this button some styles. You know, P2, PX3. rounded D, sure. Rounded SM. And BG blue, why not? Rounded MD for sure. That's not. Okay, and when I click it, I want it to show me an input, and then maybe the ad turns into save, and then I can save it. Cool. Do I still have chat here? Are people still here? Okay, seems like it. Okay, cool. I want to make sure that click and everything is still working. So I'm going to have a function here, and that function is going to. You know what? I'm not going to make it too fancy right now, like, the show ad or whatever. Okay, thank you, Joy. Thank you. What I'll do is I'll just straight up have the input showing, because I don't want to spend too much time juggling. And so I'll just have an input field here. Whatever. New just and because I'm using a reference here, I'm gonna have the new description ref and emptiness and port this from view. And that will make that an active thing that I can edit and change, and to show that it is working. Let's just quickly upper and pre. Okay, we'll style this in a second. Hello there. Great. Okay, P, P1, 2, 3, get some padding in there, make it look nicer. Maybe that was enough. Let's do the rounded MD thing since everything else has it. And later on, I will make this appear later. So I got hello there. I'm storing that value so that when I actually need to add it, it's available. And so I'm going to have add item function. I need to pass it which column it's in. So that would be column name. And then I need to, what else do we need? That's it, I think. We'll make the function a bit more functional so it doesn't, at the time it gets added, we'll just pass it the new description as well. So we'll have add item. I wonder if, just for funsies, if this gives me code actions. It doesn't. And this will be the column name, and this will be the and fine. Okay, and let me just console log this for now. Let's make sure that's working. Yep. Get rid of that pre so it doesn't. Okay. So what we'll have to do, I believe, is because we want to modify data, we will have to make this a reference as well. But because it's not a singular value, I don't know if I use with Vue, you either use reactive or you use ref. So 3 reactive ref and get a sense of what or how it's used. So when you use ref, actually we can use ref because it just the only thing is when you use ref and then you're using that variable, you have to use the variable dot value in order to manipulate it. The value actually lives in value. Count is actually just a reference to the thing. But when we have reactive and you pass it an object, so reactive is for objects, but you could use ref for objects as well, of course. Reactive is for objects where now it's variable name dot property, and you can access that directly instead of referencing value. So I want to try and see and make this a ref and see if that suffices. And this will let our template know that this is sort of an active variable that if it gets modified to redraw the template or modify the template. And then okay, so now when I modify it here, I will need to use value. So I'll need to use data.value.columns dot whatever. Okay, okay. So I'll just have to find the column. And I don't know whether I can do something like this. So I'll just start typing it out, and if we'll try it out. If it doesn't work, I'll modify it. So I'm going to need, I guess, to find the index of this object here, because that's the object that I want to modify. Actually, no. Let me just go column equals data.value dot columns. Whoops. Columns dot find column c dot name is equal to column name. And that would give me the column. And then I go column dot list dot push. And for now, I'll just give it a fake ID. And description. Add a description. State is new by default. And at some point, we'll have it created. This doesn't like being modified. I wonder why. Object is possibly undefined. Good point. Thank you, Typescript. For now, I won't worry too much about errors. And then if that is successful, then let's clear out. Yeah, see, like, I'm using this sort of, I can't just clear it. Can I just do item description equals blank? Or do I have to do new description? Dot value. And because I'm using new description here, what's the point of passing this in and making it functional? Nobody knows. Okay, let's try it out. Okay. Cool, that works. I mean, if you want it to be more semantic, and in this case, we actually should. I'm going to get rid of this Lala because that tripped me up for a second. If we want it to be more semantic, of course, when I type in Lala and press enter here, nothing happens because this is not a form. And so what I want to do now is turn this into a form. I wonder if Vue will pick this up automatically. I believe it will. Oops. Okay, and my submit will have add item now. And I can just get rid of this because it's a natural normal button. And I'm not sure if I need to do a prevent default here. I believe I do. View form submit prevent. Because forms, when you naturally on an HTML page, when you submit a form, it does a refresh, and so we want to prevent the natural thing that a form would do and use our method. Now when I come back here, hello, and I press enter, sort of a natural form without having to add any like listen to enter or whatever else. Cool. So we got it. Like we got the draggable stuff. We got the ability to add a new thing. And really the rest of the work here is styling it so that I have multiple columns all the time. This doesn't have to be centered, you know, like the prior tab plugin. I need to have it here, here, and here. So, well, okay, here's the thing. Let's let's add the list of items, although this is not being saved. So obviously save items in local storage slash Chrome storage. Okay. What else? Oh, that's interesting, right? So this needs to be full width, or this needs to be fixed width. That's fine. Style columns and items. Right? If I start saving them and I style it, for the most part, I think I'm done. You know what? Let's take a few seconds just to store it. Let's just do local storage. I won't style it because it'll take a while, but I feel like if I can just get it into local storage, I have a local working thing. It won't work in my, it actually will still work as a plugin. It'll just use local storage. It won't sync anywhere, and I think that's fine. Full width, because that's bothering me. Give that a little bit more space. Oops, actually, and I want MB. Just give it spacing. Oh, that didn't work. It actually didn't like the MB, or I wanted this thing to be. That's fine. I'll just, yeah, I'm styling now, but boy, that you're not fitting. It's fine. It's probably just because it doesn't want to respect margins because of the way margins collapse on each other. And so I'm just going to hack with padding just to create a little bit more space here than here. And now, let's see. Things that I made. We lost a little bit. Oh, add new item. Okay, so I got add new item. And now I just need to, every time this changes, this is great because we'll get to use a little bit of functionality of a view. Every time this changes, I want to store the entire object in local storage. And for that, we're going to use watch from Vue. Vue position API watch. Actually, I'm just gonna open up There's two functions as watch effect, and the usage is here like this, where we just write it out. We just say, hey, watch whatever's inside here. So we don't have to specify what specific things we care about in there. And then there's watch, where I believe we have to specify, if I recall. I think. Oh, or if it's changed. Either way, I don't remember. Okay, compared to watch effect, watch allows us to perform the side effect lazily, be more specific about what state the trigger watcher to rerun, access both previous and current value. Right, so you can access previous and current value with watch, but watch effect just deals with the new. Sorry. Yeah. So I think I just want to use watch effect. Like I just want to make it straightforward and simple. And to see if it is working, we'll just output data, that value, straight up. So anytime I add something, I expect now to see that show up in my console. If I say hello, I would have expected it to show up here. I need to refresh. I am seeing this, so hello. And that's not what I would have expected. Value dot columns 0 dot list dot length. I believe because I'm referencing data here, it should just work. And it does. Okay, so it is here. Then why didn't I get the full thing? I do get it here. Then when I do hello, I'm expecting to see another one. But it doesn't want to output the whole thing. But it did the length. What I want to try is try and make this reactive. And see whether that will fix it, out of curiosity. And now we will have to get rid of this value here because we're no longer do that for reactive elements. So now this is working. If I say hello, no, not working as I would have expected. I am only going to actually spend 5 minutes on this, so let me see. Watch effect. I did use watch effect. I'm just console logging the value. And just say data. Oh. Okay. No. So maybe I should be using watch. And I wasn't aware of watch post effect or sync. Which maybe might clue us into why this is happening this way. But it actually doesn't go into that here. Do I have a... That's fine. Okay. Okay, let's see. Because it might be the case that it doesn't like
certain aspects of it. So I'm going to change this back to ref instead of reactive. Okay, just make sure things are still working. Yep. Maybe my expectation of this is a bit weird because I know like when we went into detail, it did work. Like when we were posting length, it was able to detect that. What we'll do is we'll watch, and we'll just watch data. And when we do, we want to I have no idea why. Okay. With watch, I need to reference it here. So this is value and previous value. So the new value will be here with watch. I think that's it, but I'm not, In this case, it doesn't. It's actually passing me the value itself. No, no, like it. Okay, so let me do this. This is a bit weird because of the way the reactivity model works. What I'm actually going to do is data.value equals data dot value. It is hack. But I think it's because this won't trigger because I'm doing this magic here, right? Like I'm Vue's reactivity model might not have an indication that something inside, deep inside, has changed versus the value itself changing. Probably because I'm doing this, like data.value.columns.find, versus maybe if I'd done something like const column index and gotten the index, and then done straight up like data.value.columns, column index.list.push. I think that would trigger the reactivity model, but the fact that I'm breaking that into getting columns and modifying the column, I think, but I'm not sure. So I'm trying to use this hack to tell Vue, hey, this object has changed. Very much like set state in a React. But avoiding this is kind of the whole point of using Vue over React, Am I going nuts here? Like, what's the deal? This is what I wanted. Okay, literally 2 more minutes. I'm going to end this because I can just figure out what to do here later. I'm watching. I'm getting my new data. And I want to just output my new data. And I've done an override here. And maybe it doesn't like that I'm doing that. I'm going to do something super shitty that just as a way to prove to myself whether this thing is working, like whether the mental model I have in my mind is correct. And now it's not a self-assign anymore, is it? Although you shouldn't do this. And maybe I'll try the column index thing to make sure that my mental model is correct. Okay, so that's working. That's working. So Here it does detect that I'm storing an entire object. Where I think if I did data.value equals data.value because it's happening by reference, it doesn't see that the item has changed. Good. So that my mental model is correct. It's just data.value equals data.value doesn't work because it doesn't know that the reference is changed. So now I'm actually going to do this business here where I find the index. Oops. And index returns, I believe. And here I'm going to do data.value.columns, column index. And if this doesn't work, that's fine. I'll just retreat. Just retreat to doing this hack here for now because I just want it functional. But if this works, then that mental model is of how the reactivity system works is validated. No, not validated at all. So like this stuff is working. It's coming in here clean, but Vue doesn't know that that item inside is changing. And this is because like typically you wouldn't use Vue in this manner to kind of just manage like a big block like this. Typically you do things a bit different, or you might do something like this. Okay, one last thing. Sorry, one last thing, folks. I'm going to take this list. I'm going to what did I do? Nope, that's not. I'm going to take this list. I'm going to destructure it, and then add in that item. So now I'm telling the list, hey, the list is this list with this destructured and this new item added to the. And then I believe that ought to trigger the reactivity system. And if it doesn't, I'm just gonna deal with my hack. Okay, I guess I'm dealing with the hack. Again, this is not my expectation of how Vue works. But it might be because I'm using the new script setup. It might be because I'm not using watch properly. But this was not my expectation. So I'm gonna go back to what I had before, where I am doing this business, this dirty business here. It's fine. It's fine. And what we'll do here is so what I just want to end this thing here is to be able to store it in local storage, and then to be able to store it in local storage, and then retrieve it from local storage so that when I refresh, it's accessed properly. So which means, okay, fine, every time the data is changing, I want to turn it into a string. What am I doing here? So I'll stringify it, and then local storage dot set item. We do data string. That should store it, and then when we refresh in this setup here, what we can do is get that item. Or the new version just does need to have the columns in there. But this can be empty. And then later we'll have just a default setting for it. This needs to be blank. Now I have local data. And then, yep. We'll just start this off with local data. So now our reference will be started off with this local data item here. This is a string. I will need to parse it. 30. Should call it string. Let's use look here. If the local data string exists, convert it into the object and use the object. So when I come back here and refresh this, I should see an empty list. And then I say hello, 1, 2, 3. And now when I refresh, I expect that data to stay. And it does. Great. The only thing I don't like about this now is this hack here, which I'm going to read up a little bit on and try and figure out, because modifying a large object like this without using something like, views data functionality. I don't know, this, I would have expected this to work. That's fine. All right. We're actually not using. Saying add item. And yeah, if I was using Chrome here, all I need to do is detect, have an if here, detect if Chrome.storage is available in the environment, and if it is, then I'd use Chrome.storage's set key or set item instead of local storage, and that's really the only difference that we'd have to do in order to sync the Chrome data. Cool. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Do folks have any questions or comments? Folks are still around. (7:30 to 10), so it's like about, although I did start a bit later than 7:30, maybe start about around 8, so it's about 2 hours. That's not too bad. Not too bad for 2 hours. Is this recorded? It is recorded. I've recorded it locally, but I'll see if I can upload it somewhere. The whole thing maybe not as smooth as I would have wanted it, but as on a first run, I guess it's fine. Yeah, I will upload it. Anyone else? How do I know who's still around? Okay, I mean, it shows a few folks here. All right, folks, I guess that's it. Thanks for joining. I want to do this again with other things. Maybe in the next one, I install this a bit better, figure out this whole data.value thing, or work on something else, right? And have some other project that I'm continually working on. A couple hours isn't too much to get a whole lot done, but here we have a pretty much, like, this is really what I wanted. Cool. Thanks for joining. And I'll see you next time. I'll post on LinkedIn or I'll post on Twitter. Um, and thanks, Saeed. Thanks. Yeah, I was getting, it's already hot here, and I don't have my fan running because it would get picked up in the mic, and I'm like sweating bullets. I'm like, am I figuring this out? Although again, like the whole thing took maybe like half an hour, which is not too bad with people watching. So cool, folks. All right, thank you very much. Tell your friends if this was useful or something like this is useful to other people. Another thing I do want to do actually is I want to go over like I want to one series that I do want to do, which I wanted to do as a YouTube learning series, is my Vim setup, and like how to like learn Vim but also build Vim at the same time, because a lot of this is plugins and it's configuration. So I wanted to go through, do a series on Vim in terms of like learning Vim from scratch, um, but also being able to build Vim as you're learning Vim. And then maybe some other projects, if I think of them, I'll put them on here. Cool, folks. Thank you, thank you, thank you again. And yeah, tell your friends. All right. That'll be it. And oh, more comments. See, the delay is weird here, right? So, okay. Well, yeah. I think even if you look at Vim and you're able to copy that um, into some of the items that you want. Like for example, if you're able to look at Vim and be like, oh, I need to look at the equivalent VS Code setup for this kind of feature, and that helps a lot too. Like it's not just um, you don't necessarily have to know Vim or want to use. But all right, cool, folks. I will see you next time.